Hi, I'm Tanya Kazi. I've been a student of behavioral and positive psychology through my college years. And it was the study of positive psychology that really started to change my life. It helped me see many things about my behavior patterns, about my responses, my reactions, my interactions with people that really shed light on where my behavior patterns were coming from. What was the stem? What was the root of where behaviors arise from in a person? That study led me to understanding how much the body is integral to the mind, to the soul, to the human experience. We live in this world where there's so much stress on the cerebrum. There's so much stress on how you think, how you process thoughts, where you are in your mind, how do you plan your life, how do you execute, how do you move forward. Everything's happening up in the head all the time, such that we are never really fully connected to the body. And it needs to be highlighted over and over again that your body is just as much a part of your decision-making process, your feeling, your emotive state, your processing, as much as the mind is, as much as the heart is. Therefore, it's important that we not only focus on the mind and the way we think, but also the way we feel, and not just feel in our feeling state, but how we feel about things in our bodies. When someone says something hurtful or something that may trigger a trauma or may remind you of something very uncomfortable that you've gone through, it will have not just an emotional reaction. You're not just going to want to react through words, through your thought process, but there's going to be a physical reaction in your body as well. You're going to feel it somewhere in your body. And that awareness and that knowledge led me to the study of yoga. And from yoga, I understood that all the asanas and all the postures that we practice in the span of an hour's class, an hour and 15 minutes class, is ultimately to lead us to meditation, to lead us to that place where we can be still in our bodies so that we can explore the inner workings of our inner world. And I found that in a world where there's so much talk about authenticity, how are you authentic? Bring your authentic self. Be your authentic self. What does that mean? What does that mean? How do I know what my authentic self is? Your authentic self can only be found by you through your own introspection and reflection. And dare I say that the world that we live in right now does not allow us enough opportunities, if any at all, to meditate, to tune in to our inner worlds. How am I going to know who I am if I don't stop the constant carousel of movement and just take a moment to breathe, to be with myself, and just to check in? Here's the most fascinating thing that I learned in instinctive meditation, as taught by Dr. Lauren Roche. I learned that everything that you're experiencing in this moment, the good, the bad, the uncomfortable, the stuff that you really want to run from, all of it is valuable. And we have this approach that we learned in our schools and in our schooling systems and from our peers and our elders, that if there's a problem, we have to fix it. We have to find a solution to it. Well, guess what? We're just so much more complex and dynamic and ever-changing and evolving that it's not that simple. We can't always have a solution to our problems. And I think that is what frustrates so many of us, because we approach ourselves like we were some kind of a mathematical problem that we had to solve. Sometimes we just have to understand that we have to live with the uncertainty, with the not knowing, with the questioning, with the confusion. and be okay with that. So when we explore the idea of what is your authentic self, it's so important to take a moment, take a little time, maybe even right now with me, and just breathe deeply and just feel where you are in this point in time in your emotional inner world. What are you feeling? What's happening inside? What's coming through in silence? Is there some angst? Is there frustration with global state of affairs? Is there despair? Are you okay with where you are in your life right now? Is there a need to grow? Is there an inner conflict? And it's absolutely imperative in this effort to seek authenticity, to be authentic, that we truly own where we are. If you're not feeling perfect, great, amazing, marvelous, fabulous, all those adjectives that the modern world will allow you to experience, but depression, despair, loneliness, sadness, grief, somehow they're just not that acceptable. They're just not cool enough. And yet we have to continue being authentic. So when you take a moment to just feel into your inner world right now, just the way that you are, go ahead and just feel whatever's coming up. If you're torn, you're conflicted, if the state of the world is reflecting what's going on inside of you, or is affecting what's going on inside of you, then allow yourself to just feel it and accept it, that this is where you're at. You know, Rumi has this very famous poem called The Guest House. And I'll attach a link below so you can access that poem. But it's really about just being there, just accepting whichever visitor, whichever emotion has decided to show up for you right now. And just say, okay, I'm a little confused right now. I'm a little unclear. I don't really know the way forward. This is where I'm at. It's murky waters for me right now. And that's fine. I'm allowed to be in murky waters. I can't always be bright and shining and be a happy unicorn. I am allowed the entire gamut, the entire palette of emotions that I have been gifted to experience as a human being in this lifetime. So be true to yourself, be authentic, and start here in this moment. Where am I at right now? What am I feeling? This is what it is. It may be anguish, it may be sadness, it may be frustration, but this is what it is. And I acknowledge it, I see it, I know it, and I let it be. Because when I let it be, when I let it breathe, and I let it be known, and I let my consciousness accept its presence wholeheartedly, no cheating, just saying, this is it, this is my human experience in this moment, only then will that experience, that emotion, that despair, that sorrow, that grief, that anguish start to metamorphose. Only then can it start to transform. Is it allowed the space, the room, the air, the sunlight of your attention? That's going to allow it to breathe and to start to change of its own accord, because it arrived of its own accord as well. Thank you.